Hi, welcome to the Pat Sheranian Show, folks. I'm your host, Monica Barbour, sitting in for the lovely Pat Sheranian. And you're listening to 1480 AM KHQN. And don't forget to join us if you can't on the radio. You can join us at www.utahvalleylive.com. Again, utahvalleylive.com is where you can actually see this program live. We have a special guest today, Sophia Monet, and we are going to be talking movies. It's Friday, and on Fridays, a lot of us pack our week behind us and have some fun with some movies and some entertainment. And Sophia is a total film buff, and we have a lot of fun watching movies and analyzing and critiquing. Now, if you were to ask us if we have any kind of credentials, we would say, no, we don't.
No,
so
none
this
at
is,
all.
None at all. So this is just like layman to layman talking about what we think about some of the movies that are coming out.
Just a couple of average Joes.
Just a couple of average Joes.
Average Janes, rather.
Average Janes, yes, thanks. So, there's a couple of movies out, and maybe you've seen some of them, so we don't want to give away too much stuff because we don't really want to ruin the movie or the story for you. Some of the movies that are coming out today, actually being released today, are, and sometimes it depends because we're here locally in Provo, Utah, and it depends on where you are in the country, really. But locally to us, there's certain movies that come out here in the local movie theaters here. But wherever you are, we want to be able to inform you of some of the things that are coming out. Now, one of the movies we thought that we would talk about is that's out this week is Young Adult. Now, Young Adult it stars
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. Now, Charlize Theron is from where, Sophia? Do you remember?
She's from Johannesburg in South Africa.
Okay, and she has a unique story. I remember
Yeah, she does. She originally wanted to study was ballet, but
and she's like I think she's like 6 feet tall,
she's like
or almost
5'11" or 6 feet.
Yeah, she's almost 6 feet tall. She's
very tall.
big. Yeah, and she's beautiful.
She's gorgeous. I love her.
Yeah,
and she wanted to study ballet originally, and so she went to New York. I think she went to New York to study ballet, but she had a knee or an ankle injury that stopped it, and she went back to Johannesburg, and either she went back to Johannesburg or she went straight to Los Angeles to start acting because she liked acting as well. But really what got her out of the country of South Africa was she won, her mother and a couple of her friends just signed her up for a little modeling show.
Locally there in Johannesburg.
And without her knowledge, and she just thought, oh, okay, then I will just do this and see what happens, and she won. And she got to go to Milan, Italy, and
and was she a runway model, or was she? Because she's tall enough to be a runway model. Yeah.
Because when you're a runway model, you have to be like really tall.
And she also has another interesting story about something to do with her mom. Wasn't there an accident or something tragic
with her father?
Yeah, that. Didn't her father?
Yeah. I feel kind of awkward talking about it because it's so tragic. But what happened was that.
If you don't want to talk about this?
No, it's just her story. But she talks about it.
So
yeah.
I think
So but what happened was that her dad came home one night. I think he was drunk and he was threatening them, and her mother shot him dead.
Oh, the mother did. I didn't. I knew it was some kind of an.
And she was only 15.
And she watched the whole thing.
No, she didn't watch it. She was in another room.
And then we're talking again about Charlize
Theron.
Theron, thank you, who's opening up today in Young Adult, a movie that is pretty funny. If you have a chance, go and watch the clip. It's pretty.
The trailer.
The trailer actually, and some of the clips on the trailer because it's really entertaining.
It's like she's just beyond. She has refuge and audacity.
Yeah, I think another thing about this about her is that I think she believes that she's above everything, and she's an elitist. She's entitled, and
what is she doing?
She goes back to her hometown. Is what she does. She goes back to her hometown and tries to pick up on a former flame, but the flame is married, and then the whole ridiculousness ensues. But anyhow, so that's a pretty cool movie. The other movie that's out today is it's W.E. And W.E. is a new film not a new film. It is a new film, but it's directed actually by Madonna. And the pop singer Madonna, right? And
what other Madonna is there?
Yeah, we only know the Madonna, and I kind of feel bad because some of the reviews are coming out pretty poor. I mean, they're not really excited about it, and I don't know if if Hollywood still does not take her seriously,
Why wouldn't they take her seriously?
I don't know. I don't understand that part.
Is it, like, I can understand. I guess I can understand why, because she's a pop star. She's Madonna.
Right. Well, she's a singer. She's a
And,
dancer. She's an entertainer.
Yeah.
And I think she's trying to break into the
Being artistic.
Being artistic.
And I guess maybe like you can't be artistic if you're like a pop star.
I'm not quite sure how that works.
That's just me guessing and
yeah.
stuff.
Well, I think what it is that, she's climbed her way to the top and is, one to be reckoned with, really, as far as, I admire her. She's a businesswoman. She's very shrewd in how she handles herself and, and her entertainment empire, I should say. And so, but this movie was interesting to me because I saw some of the clips and some of the trailers, and I haven't seen the movie yet. But the cinematography and some of the clips that they're actually showing are beautiful. It's a period piece set in the 1930s about Edward. It's king. He was king at the time.
If you've seen The King's Speech, which won Best Picture recently, and Best Actor for Colin Firth. It's about his character's brother, who abdicated from the throne to be with an American socialite named Wallace Simpson.
Yeah. So in reality, it's almost a flip side. The backstory, actually, as to what happened with the movie that just came out, The King's Speech. and like I say, I haven't seen the movie yet. I know you haven't seen the movie yet, right, Sophia? And because it came out today, and so it's only 12 o'clock. Okay, ignore me. Anyhow, so I do plan to see, because even though it's not getting great reviews, I think it's a true story for once. Mm-hmm. And I always say, if a man, and then again we're talking about the monarchy of England, the king, the future king of England, who abdicates the throne for a 2-time divorcee. Actually, she was only divorced once, and then she was married at the time when she was having supposedly an affair with Edward. And so, and
it's King Edward the
7th.
It would have been King Edward the 8th. It says
is it the 8th?
Yeah.
Okay, so he would have been the 8th.
If I'm reading my numerals right.
Okay. Yes, we had that lesson in 3rd grade. Roman numerals 101. Anyhow, so it's a fascinating story because it's a true story, and it depends on what kind of spin or where you read, which history you do read of it. But the fact, like I always think, if a man can give up some time for you, from playing baseball or watching football on TV, or give up spending time
sitting on his couch in his man cave,
in the man cave, and give up some time for you, that's great. But if a man gives up a kingdom,
his entire country,
that's
his royal title,
that's a keeper. So anyhow,
I'd say so.
So anyhow, and this actually happened back in, I think it was 1936. I think when this occurred, 36 or 39, something like that. I'm not a historian.
Was it right before the war, Second World War?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that a lot of people, and again, the movie is directed by Madonna, and it's called W.E., and it's kind of taken. There's 2 points to this movie. It's going back into time, and it's also telling the current story.
Okay, so does it start in the middle? I wonder if it starts like in the middle of the story and then goes back to the beginning and tells unto.
Yeah, I don't remember how
it started at.
Yeah, I don't remember how it starts or anything because I just saw the clips of it, but it includes the girl from Sucker Punch. And I always think Abby Cornish is in it, and I always think that when I first saw the clip, I thought, Charlize Theron is in. She's had 2 movies out today, but in reality, because they look so much alike, and but it's Abby Cornish who plays she's married to a psychiatrist, I believe, and then something happens, and then she gets obsessed with wanting to find out the flip side of.
Their story, because they were vilified.
They're vilified to the 9th end in reality for doing this.
Abdicating and being involved
and things like that. And I think, what was her name? The gal, Abigail.
Abby Cornish?
Abby Cornish. Okay.
She's from Australia.
No, and what was Edward's love interest? The one he
Wallace Simpson?
Wallace Simpson, that's it. Wallace Simpson. So Wallace was just vilified to the ninth end. They were accused of, she was accused of being a spy for Germany's, or for Nazi Germany.
Whoa.
Yeah, she was. And so little things like that. So, and again, she was, divorced once. She was a socialite. They thought he was after his money. But in reality, they ended up staying together for, I think it was 35 years. They stayed until,
Really?
Yeah, they stayed together for 35 years
wow.
after that. So, in reality, it was an amazing love story and a scandalous one at that. So,
Yes.
So, so that is a little bit about W.E. And another movie out today. You want to talk a thinker?
Oh, I have, another movie that's coming out today, but I think it's in limited release. I haven't checked.
Okay.
I haven't checked, but it's called Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. And it stars Gary Oldman, who I adore.
I love Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is so good.
He's amazing.
You know him from, what was he in? He was in The Dark Knight. He's in all the recent Batman movies.
Yeah, and I don't really think that they didn't really portray who Gary Oldman really is.
Well,
and that's okay, because he's well-wanted.
A minor character.
Right, yeah, he plays a minor character. He doesn't carry the film or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he has such intensity.
He has such presence.
Yeah, and he's staged, theater trained.
Yeah, originally he came from the theater.
Yeah,
he's British.
Yeah, he's British, so theater. I shouldn't say that so cavalier, but anyhow, so but he was really known. I really got to know of his work or remember him from, I think it was Immortal Beloved or Beloved Immortal, something.
Immortal Beloved.
Immortal Beloved. And that was about, not Beethoven, was it about Beethoven?
I think it was about Beethoven.
And it was an intense movie, and it was really, really good. And anyhow, so anything he's in, I like to see.
Yeah, I adore him, and I think this in itself is a scandal that they call him the best actor who's never been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, and I don't know
why. Which is a crime. It's a crime.
It's a crime. Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to where I first saw Gary Oldman in the Harry Potter movies, because I'm that age.
That's right.
I'm of that age. He played Sirius Black.
Right.
Harry Potter's godfather, with a tragic end.
And let's take a moment of silence. So Gary Oldman's coming out in that, and that is a spy movie.
Yeah, it's based on I think a 1974 novel by John le Carré.
And it's based on a true story, or
no? I think it's just a fictional story, fictional book.
And it's about
spies and MI6.
MI6, that's right, England MI6 spy ring, something to that effect.
Yeah, what he's doing is that he's been forced to retire.
Yeah, he's forced to retire.
Read the summary
please.
right here on IMDb.com. In the bleak days of the Cold War, espionage veteran George Smiley is forced from semi-retirement to uncover a Soviet agent within MI6's echelons, which means basically what they do is that he's been kind of pushed out of the MI6. And the
MI6, again, is something similar to the CIA.
In England.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that he was pushed out of the agency, and they bring him back to find a mole. And it could be any one of these characters, including Gary Oldman, I think.
So someone's a mole within the organization.
Within the organization.
And they bring him back to find out who the mole is.
Yeah, and you don't know who it is, and it could be anybody.
Okay. Oh,
and it's a big deal in England. I remember reading articles about this movie. And
it's treason. Treason's big.
Yeah, treason. Yeah, treason's kind of a big deal,
And again, folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to 1480 AM KHQN. And joining me today in the studio for the Pat Sheranian Show is Sophia Monet, my guest. And we're talking movies today because it's Friday, and we're going to go to movie after this. Mm-hmm. Okay. So another movie that we wanted to talk about that's out today is Coriolanus. Coriolanus is a Shakespeare play. It's one of the bloodiest plays of Shakespeare. And it's not on the screen. I mean, it's not on the stage much. But,
why?
I don't know. I just know that it's not, Coriolanus is just not on the stage. But it's set in Rome. It's about treason. It's about a lot of things.
It's a political thriller.
Now,
is it wide release right now, or is it limited?
I'm not too sure. I haven't seen it here in Provo. I haven't seen it anywhere locally, so I don't know if it...
It might be limited then.
It might be limited, but hopefully it comes here because it looks really good.
Because it's got Ralph Fiennes, who plays Voldemort in Harry Potter.
Right.
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler. And it also has Brian
Cox.
Now, incidentally, Brian Cox and Gerard Butler are both from Scotland. And Brian Cox came here, I think it was he was born in 1946. I have some stuff on him. And he was born in 1946 and really loved the movies. And he used to, I think he used to sweep.
Was he the janitor?
Yeah, he was a janitor in the movie theaters. And Brian Cox also, he's interesting because is he a method actor or is he
Honestly,
a personality?
I'm not familiar enough with his work.
Enough of his work, yeah.
Because I know him. I only know Brian Cox from movies like X-Men 2. He was in.
Was he X-Men 2?
Yeah, he played the bad guy. He was in Red recently with Bruce Willis and Morgan Freeman.
Yes, he was brilliant in Red. I
he was
loved
so
him
good.
in Red.
He played a Russian agent.
He played a Russian agent interacting with Bruce Willis,
Helen Mirren,
and
Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich.
It was
if you need any other reason, go see that movie Red for John Malkovich's character.
Yeah, and you can Redbox. I think that's a Redbox or
it's available to everyone now,
or Netflix online. That kind of thing.
It is hysterical.
Yeah, it's really funny.
But anyway, going back to Coriolanus.
Coriolanus. No, that's okay. So Coriolanus is Ralph Fiennes. Ray Fiennes. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I know.
I'm a stickler.
Yes, you are. Ray Fiennes is directorial debut. He's never directed a movie before. Now you may remember Ray Fiennes he played Voldemort. You said that already. And Voldemort, and he also played in the English Patient.
Is that a good movie? I've never seen it.
It is an amazing, movie. It is so heart-wrenching. And just the cinematography, everyone, the cast was brilliant.
And who else was in that movie?
I don't remember who else, but I think he was up for an Academy Award on that one. I'm almost. I know the picture. I think it was on that one. But going back to Brian Cox. Brian Cox is, again, he's from Scotland. He's an elderly gentleman, but he's brilliant in anything he does. And he had an affinity for American cinema, and it eventually led him here to the States because he was born in Dundee, Scotland. And he didn't want to do theater, and he didn't want to play a comedian.
Really?
No, he did not want to do the theater. He didn't want to do comedy. He thought it was kind of ridiculous. So while working in a local theater, I know. So while working in a local theater, where he started to mop the stage as a 15-year-old boy, he would watch the actors study their styles to separate the wheat from the chaff. Kind of what he called it. Then he attended drama school in London and got caught up in the British theatre and television during the 1970s. No, but he did get it. He was on Broadway in the early 80s, and that allowed the casting agent Michael Mann's Manhunter. He was cast for Michael Mann's Manhunter back in 1986.
Is that where he was the first Hannibal Lecter?
Yes.
Oh.
And so of course, Hannibal Lecter was made more popular by the most brilliant actor of our time.
My hero, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. And we even saw Anthony Hopkins in, I don't get starstruck because I've been around a lot of people who are stars or movie stars, real big ones.
Oh, gosh.
And we don't get starstruck, but we were in Santa Monica. So we were in Santa Monica. And all of a sudden, Barnes and Noble, right in the
on 3rd Street,
in the promenade.
Yeah.
And downtown, just looking, just having some fun in Santa Monica, and all of a sudden, who walks in?
None other than Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, and I just froze. I couldn't walk anymore.
And I was with her, and I ran into her. And me and Anthony Hopkins. It was like we passed. Not even right here.
They passed air. It was amazing.
We breathed the same air, and it was just kind of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and he does have that presence, but he's really a nice man.
He's pleasant.
He's very pleasant.
And if you see all of his interviews, he's very fun.
He's really a nice guy. His art, the way he articulates and everything. And I know he kind of reminds me of the same, because there's a group of them that are really like super mega stars. Maybe not to the maybe not to the populace, but I think more like to those who really appreciate fine acting.
And
and I think he fits up there with Richard Harris, the late Richard Harris.
Who was the original Dumbledore, going back to our Harry Potter theme that suddenly has popped up.
Yes, very good, Sophia. So, anyhow, so going back to Brian, we left, let's see, we were at
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox. So anyhow, so let's go back to Brian Cox. So Brian Cox is amazing, and he's a great guy. So he's also in the new movie Coriolanus.
Going back to Coriolanus.
Going back to Coriolanus, that is being released today. Another person in Coriolanus, which most of you young women or even older women would find more than I don't even know what to say, appealing, would be Gerard Butler. Now, Gerard Butler, I was reading some stuff on him and found out some very interesting facts. Now, he is from Scotland. He was born in, was it not?
Glasgow.
Glasgow. And then he, so then what he did is they moved out of Scotland.
They moved to Canada.
They moved to Canada when he was 4, I believe.
No, I think he was like a few months old.
Okay, so.
I don't know.
Let me see. I think he moved to Canada. He moved to Canada.
It's
Canada,
okay. I've done worse with Canada.
He moved to Canada, and then they moved back to Scotland when his parents
Where
got
in Scotland?
I'm not. It doesn't say.
Is it Glasgow? I remember
Glasgow.
reading it.
Yeah, it does say Glasgow.
Yeah.
He's born in 1969 in Glasgow,
crazy.
and he's the youngest of Margaret and Edward Butler's 3 children. He has a sister and a brother. When Butler was barely 6 months old, his family relocated to Montreal, Canada. There's where we found that, where his father undertook several failed businesses. And a year and a half later, Butler's parents divorced, and his mother took the children back to Scotland, where he saw his father.
He only saw his father like twice.
He saw the father when he left. They went back to Scotland, and then he saw his father again when he was 16, actually. And in the meantime, Butler grew up in his mother's hometown of Paisley, Scotland. That's it. And again, we're talking about Gerard Butler, who's coming out today, whose performance today is coming out. In
Coriolanus.
Coriolanus
With Ray Fiennes.
With Ray Fiennes. We're trying to get as many movies as we can in here. So, anyhow, so let me see. So he was enamored with acting. However, he was convinced by his mother and other family members to
not pursue acting
because it wasn't really a
realistic
goal.
Which it isn't, maybe a little bit.
For some people.
For some.
But we're unrealistic.
But we are creative.
Yeah.
Kids.
So I guess he finally convinced his mom to take him to some auditions, and eventually he joined the Scottish Young Theatre, and he played a street urchin? In Oliver.
In Oliver?
Oh. King's Theatre in Glasgow, and I've been to the King's Theatre, and it's fabulous. Okay, let me see.
Is it a big theatre?
It's really cool because everything in Glasgow is old and fun and
glorious.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. And so he was an exceptional student, and Butler graduated at the top of his class, and hoping to please his family and his teachers, who felt that acting was an unrealistic career choice, Butler enrolled in Glasgow's University Law Program, where he served as the president of the school's law society and earned an honors degree, of all things.
Wow.
So so he, he's intelligent as well as good looking, and
he's the complete package.
He's a nice package. And after finishing college, Butler took a year and a half off to live in Los Angeles, where he appeared as an extra in the Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston movie,
The Bodyguard.
The Bodyguard,
which is funny because I saw that. I just watched that movie last night without knowing that, and then we researched this, and I was just, oh my gosh,
that was pretty fun.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty because we were talking about that. So, and then he traveled back to Canada to be with his father at his bedside when his father was dying of cancer. So. Shortly after his father's death, Butler returns to Scotland to begin a 2-year law traineeship in Edinburgh at one of the country's top law firms. So he was bored and disconnected with his life, and as a lawyer, and he still dreamed about performing. And sometimes, you get the acting bug, or you get these things.
Or you just even if you're not even have the acting bug, sometimes you can just feel like you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, in the wrong profession, or the wrong life, the wrong body. I'm just kidding. Anyhow, so So soon enough, Butler's unhappiness began to show in his work. So, and his firm fired him. But sometimes, it's interesting because I've been fired from a job, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. And I couldn't punch a card from 9 to 5, and it was when I was younger. And anyhow, I was working 2 jobs. But anyhow, so and sometimes your work shows up when you're not happy. It shows it in your work. So this is what happened to Gerard Butler, and he ended up getting fired from the law firm. And actually, that was like a mixed blessing because this is where he actually thrust himself into what he really wanted to do, which was acting. So enough about Gerard Butler. The other person in Coriolanus is Vanessa Redgrave.
Yes.
Now, Vanessa Redgrave, she's a beauty in her own right.
I think she's up there. I have her up there with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, she's one of that. She's one of those
group, very
in that group.
Ethereal, very.
Yeah, she's.
They have a lot. She has a lot of presence along with these other great actors.
She doesn't have to say anything but hello or something like that with her English accent.
She doesn't even have to say anything. She just says
it
with her eyes. She says more with her eyes alone, without opening her mouth, than a lot of people can do with a monologue. Yeah, 5 minutes of just talking.
Excuse me. And so she's also one of the. There's a couple of Redgraves actually.
Yeah,
and she's got a sister. And it's Vanessa and I think Lynn
Redgrave. I've heard of Lynn.
Yeah, and Vanessa Redgrave has 2 daughters, the Richardson daughters,
sisters,
and Richardson sisters.
From was it?
She was married to.
Who was she married?
She was married to Sir
director.
I thought he was a Sir something.
Yeah,
but he. Anyhow, so she had a daughter.
She had one daughter. Her name was Jolie Richardson.
Right. There's Jolie Richardson who played in.
She was in The Patriot with Mel Gibson.
Okay. Yeah. And so and you would not remember because or not remember, but you won't tie those 2 together because I never did. I don't know why, even though they had the same last name.
I could see how Jolie Richardson looks like Vanessa Redgrave. What I didn't know is that Natasha Richardson.
Yes. Is her sister.
Is her sister and also Vanessa Redgrave's daughter.
Right.
And you, unfortunately, may know Natasha Richardson because she passed away recently in a ski accident.
Yeah, in a ski accident about a couple of years ago. And she was the wife of
Liam Neeson.
Neeson. And I hear he's getting on with life and stuff, but that was a tragic accident. And I have my things on Vanessa. But anyhow, so Vanessa is amazing. And
she's lovely.
She's lovely, and she's a classic in her own right, and just everything she does is it's perfect. She was in the other movie with what's her name, the one that has the beautiful frog eyes, the blonde that came in. It was like in Tuscany or not in Tuscany. Oh, what's that?
Oh, Letters to Juliet.
That's it. Letters to Juliet. She was in that.
Oh. I love that movie.
I didn't mean to call her Bubble Eye or anything but she's got beautiful
Amanda Seyfried.
That's it. Because we're going to talk about Amanda in a minute. So she's got.
She's lovely too.
So I have Kelly laughing in the back. Amanda's got the most gorgeous.
I'm jealous of her eyes.
Yeah, I'm jealous of her eyes because I got squinty little eyes. But anyhow,
same here.
So she's got these amazing eyes, and then when they put the makeup on, it even they even pop out even more.
Beautiful and expressive.
Yeah. So Vanessa Redgrave was in
Letters to Juliet.
Letters to Juliet.
She was
precious.
Yeah, I know that it got hammered by the critics.
Yeah, it did. But it was a charming movie.
But often I don't agree with the critics.
Yeah, we're critics right now, but we have no credentials. I'm telling you. So don't.
We're going with the our own personal interests and likes and such.
And so and sometimes I'm thinking, what are these critics talking about? Because I don't think they're getting it right. So anyhow, but. So they played in that movie together, and then so I'm trying to think. So Coriolanus is a Shakespeare play adapted into.
Now, is it period, or is it been adapted to modern?
It's adapted to modern times, set supposedly in Rome, and it's a political thriller to where Ralph Fiennes is a leader who is Vanessa Redgrave's son, Vanessa Redgrave plays his mother, and she's pushing him to to higher heights, in other words, and to get busy on, controlling a country. And so he doesn't want to compromise in a couple of things. And then opposite him, the villain is Gerard Butler.
Or is he the villain, or is it like
I don't know who really is the
complex?
villain.
We haven't seen the movie
Yeah,
yet.
we haven't seen the movie, but
or is it just one of those situations where they're just like opposing forces hitting each other?
Yeah, they're opposing. Yeah, because I think Ralph has, he just goes and wants to mow down cities and things like that, and I think it goes down to class warfare, and then right now we're going to take a break for a few minutes, folks, and you be back to join us. Don't leave us. We'll be right back. You're listening to 1480 AM.
Hi, this is Mary Louise Zeller. I'm an independent distributor with Kayani, and I've also achieved the rank of Blue Diamond inside of 3 years. I have a degree in biology. I have studied the research on our trio of products that Kayani refers to as the Triangle of Health. These 3 products work together synergistically and have more power in changing health. Many network marketing companies bring healthy products to market, some not so healthy, but many of them do. They've brought good products to market. This Triangle of Health product, Kayani Nitro Effects, our 3rd product, is a life-changing product. It is backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. Nitric oxide is called the molecule of life. It's necessary for all cell function, the repair, the defense, the maintenance, and function of every cell in your body. It is responsible for whether or not you have cardiovascular health or cardiovascular disease. When you have sufficient levels of nitric oxide in your body, you will have cardiovascular health. That was proved by that Nobel Prize-winning research. Nitric oxide is a neurotransmitter, and that is the way all of the cells in your body operate as a unified organism, and it's also the way your brain works. So nitric oxide is fundamental to life. You can live 5 minutes without oxygen. You can only live 5 seconds without nitric oxide. This product is consistent with my commitment to have a body that will do my dreams, that I can do my athletics all my life. And these 3 products, nitric oxide precursor product, that's very important because synthetic nitric oxide is dangerous. It has side effects. This is plant sourced, and it is a precursor that your body will use these nutrients in this formulation to produce nitric oxide. Very, very important to having outstanding high performance health and ageless body all the days of your life, but in combination with a Kayani Sunset and Kayani Sunrise, the antioxidant Sunrise, and Kayani Sunset, the omega-3 fish oils with tocotrienols, protecting your body from cancer, improving cardiovascular health. In 40 years of researching natural supplementation for health, anti-aging, and high performance, I have never come across products that made this much fundamental difference, slowing the aging process, actually reversing the aging process, and high performance. As a high performance athlete, I've never seen anything in 40 years give me the performance I experienced with Kayani's Triangle of Health products.
Thanks for listening to our broadcast. Please do us a favor and take a moment to call, text, or email your friends and family and let them know about this show. We're live on this radio station, KHQN AM 1480, and on UtahValleyLive.com, where this show will be archived for later viewing. Also, Utah Valley Live is seeking additional programming for our growing network, talk shows about religion or politics, how-to shows, and more. Go to UtahValleyLive.com and send us your contact information and the type of show you would like to broadcast.
Thank you for joining us, folks. You're on the Pat Sheranian Show here, and I am your host, Monica Barbour, and I have a co-host today, Sophia Monet, and we're talking movies today, and we're having a lot of fun. So glad you're joining us here for the noon o'clock hour. And don't forget to, actually, we have some programming changes, and on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I will be starting my own show, the Monica Barbour Show. So I want you to join us. We're going to have lots of fun and lots of entertaining people on, and we hope to educate and entertain you both. So anyhow, back to movies. Back behind us, we have some popcorn, and I swear you will not believe the popcorn, the calorie count. In fact, it's like I think I have to fast like on a water diet for 3 days prior to eating it because the calories are so high. Yes, it's amazing. I was pulling that up because I really wanted to share with the listeners how much calories it does have. And so literally, if you're going to go to a movie,
Don't eat
fast
that
the day before.
And the day before.
And the day before and the day after you're swollen from all the sodium. But anyhow, but I go and I enjoy a big old pot of popcorn. And I share it with the family.
Size.
It's an actual size. And I get my extra butter. I have to have my extra butter. It's not really a movie popcorn. So anyhow, back to movies. So we were talking about, before we left for a commercial break, we were talking about Coriolanus. And again, Coriolanus is it's a political thriller, and it's Ralph Fiennes' directorial debut, and he's directing Gerard Butler, Vanessa Redgrave, himself, and Brian Cox. That's an ensemble in itself. So it's getting pretty good reviews. So I don't know when I'll come to the Provo area, the Orem area, or this area, Salt Lake area.
And so just to ask about, since it's a Shakespeare play, do they actually adapt like the language to become modern language, or is it actual just like the Shakespeare lines?
I hear, from what I understand, it's like they made this kind of flowery. And I think was it John Logan? Who was the director of that, or writer?
The writer is John Logan.
John Logan, and John Logan did.
He wrote Hugo.
Which
came out recently.
We're going to talk about Hugo in a minute.
We will.
And let me see, what else did he did? Something else. John.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm forgetting.
Anyway.
Anyhow, so that's another one. Okay, before we go to Hugo,
I was looking at the IMDb page for Coriolanus, and they have
and tell the listeners what IMDb is.
IMDb stands for the Internet Movie Database. And it's a website where you can go, and it's like probably the biggest movie information database that you can have on the internet.
Right.
And you can just go there, and it's free unless you want to sign up as a member. And you just basically...
Yeah, it has like actors.
Yeah, actors, directors, movies, trivia.
Movie trivia.
They even have like fun stuff like goofs or quotes. I have like on my computer saved like pages and pages of like quotes from movies. Yeah.
Yeah, so IMDb is a really good website if you're interested in like more in-depth facts about actors and movies and programming, and I mean not programming but location shoots and things like that. Information. So you were saying? Oh
well, I was looking at the page for Coriolanus, and I noticed that all the characters' names are like
they're Roman.
They're Roman.
They're Roman
which
names.
Which makes me like Gerard Butler's character's name is Tullus Aufidius. And then Ray Fiennes, who plays the title character, is Caius Marcius Coriolanus. So it makes me wonder: do they actually, if they did the names, then do they actually have the
dialogue for it? I heard that, and I think John Logan is brilliant in as far as his writing, his script writing. So it'll be interesting to see how that was played out, because I did read something to that effect that it was flowery, or they did something with it that's very unique. So that would be interesting, because that's Ray's. Ray Fiennes' first directing. Yeah, it's directing. Yeah, Anyhow, I'm just joking. So anyhow, let's see what else. Okay, we want to talk about another movie, and then we're going to get to Hugo at the end, because you don't want to talk about Hugo now?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Should we talk about, because Hugo's going to take some time, and Sophia's Miss Movie Buff, and she's going to tell us a lot about Martin Scorsese. Yeah. So real quick, we're going to talk about In Time. In Time is
this is your movie to talk about. Like
sure,
special. Like you studied this.
Yeah, right. I studied a little bit. We went to go see the movie because it was a fascinating premise, and the premise is that the movie In Time actually. Let's see who's in it. It's Justin Timberlake and Amanda
Seyfried, who was in a movie with Vanessa Redgrave.
Right, that's right. Amanda, and then the other
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
And I hope we're pronouncing it right.
Yeah, I don't know if we are. So, Cillian Murphy is
an Irish actor.
And he's so intense and scary. And even when he speaks hello.
Yeah, you've probably, as an audience, you've probably seen him in Batman Begins, the first Christian Bale Batman movie.
He was
the Scarecrow. He was like the
psychiatrist.
The psychiatrist who always put on the mask.
Yeah, it was a psychiatrist that was psycho.
And he was that.
Yeah, and he was the Scarecrow.
And he was a bad guy.
He was a bad guy. But I don't know, has he ever played a nice guy? I'm not too sure.
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of his movies.
Yeah, but he's just so intense, and you're glued to the screen.
He's very like...
It's not that he's attractive or anything. It's just that.
I'm sure there are people who think.
I'm sorry.
He's not ugly. He's not ugly.
No. But it's just, the way he he's
very intense. You just look at him and you just like feel like this wave of like whoa.
Yeah, and he has that movie screen presence. But
Yeah.
anyhow, so In Time is a movie that stars Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried, and then of course Cillian. I hope I'm saying that right.
Cillian
Cillian, I'm
Murphy.
sorry, Murphy from Ireland. Anyhow, so Justin Timberlake is a fabulous entertainer. I mean, he can sing, he can really dance.
I mean, who would have thought that?
He's like a Disney, isn't he?
He was on The Masketeers with Ryan Gosling.
Oh, that's
and Britney
right.
Spears and Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, that whole group.
Yeah, and
together.
who would have thought that like the guy from NSYNC would be?
Was he in NSYNC?
He was in NSYNC. He was in he was in a boy band.
Oh, okay.
And who would have thought that he would have been like in this movie, which he didn't do a bad job in. Actually.
Yeah, actually, he's improving, and I think they gave him a little bit more credit this time.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it goes.
Because he was in The Social Network,
right,
with Jesse Eisenberg and.
Who
was nominated for Best Actor for that movie,
and for being
in the Academy Awards,
right? And he was also in the other movie, Friends with Benefits, with the other
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis and him were together in the
that Friends with Benefits movie.
Friends with Benefits. And I guess my point, what I'm trying to make, is that even though he's an entertainer, singer, we know him as singer, songwriter, and dancer, and former Disney and Masketeer, and. But he's playing opposite some heavyweights, and which is a credit to where I think the directors feel that he has some,
and the casting
and the casting agents as well feel that perhaps he's got something, and even if they have to take it and kind of groom him a little bit, and I think that's what they're probably doing, because I believe he does have the chops.
He does.
He's talented in many ways. And I think in this movie, In Time, it shows a little bit more of him maturing, I think, in film, and I think he has the desire actually to get better, which is
great, which is probably the best thing you can have when you're an actor, just a desire to continue
to growing, right,
and getting better,
right, and he's so driven that obviously he'll be good before long if people don't think he's good already. Anyhow, so it's interesting because this In Time is a very, very intriguing subject, premise, and and what it's about. It's where people grow or